Hi, this is Coach Judith. This is episode 15, and we have been reviewing the first half of a video that my coworker Stephen created. Just to remind you what the task at hand was, he asked us to download 5 video clips from YouTube, and I want to point out that you must have legal access to use those 5 video clips. And then he wrote software, but you don't have to write software to do this next step, the combining of those 5 videos. So if you had 5 1-minute videos, you combine them into a single 5-minute video. That was the next part of that step. He used code to do it, and he showed that to us. Then he sped up the clips. So if it was a 5-minute video, maybe he makes it so fast that it runs in 1 minute. And he created an MP4 a final video that had all the 5 videos combined and running really fast. So let's get back to his video here.
The footage you just watched was at ×8 speed. And that's not the challenge. The challenge is to do it at a normal pace. I'll post a link below to my 17-minute video, which is how long it took me to go through the pipeline in its entirety, including the times that I was, let's just say, learning to play Slither.io because I was waiting for some MP4 file to be rendered.
So a few things I want to say about this part of the video. First of all, the video that I am playing for you is available on YouTube in our Metacoders channel, and Stephen has commentary description at the bottom of the video that shows you videos of him actually going through the process that he is describing here. So if you are not viewing from the Metacoders YouTube channel, you might want to get on there. We have a lot of really cool videos, the videos that Stephen has created, and then commentary from a variety of different people watching them. The other thing that he mentioned was that it took him 17 minutes to do this entire process, which is really fast. The downloading the files, the combining the files, the speeding up the files. The reason it was so fast is that Stephen uses code to automate a lot of the processes that he is describing here. And we believe at Metacoders, and I think most people that are involved in coding, that you can use coding to speed up a lot of processes and automate a lot of things. Things that we used to do by hand, you can do them a lot faster if you get a computer to do that kind of work. So it took him 17 minutes to do this process, but he did take a little bit of a break while files were downloading, and he learned how to play some video games, a video game called Slither.io. Don't know how many of you guys have played that. I have not, but maybe I will try. Let's keep watching.
And I'll also post the slightly shorter 12-minute video where I cut out my Slither.io sessions, so that 12 minutes represents the cost of this pipeline as is.
Okay, so I guess Stephen played for 5 minutes. It was actually 12 minutes that it took him to create the videos and 5 minutes of, let's call it download time, but while he used that time to improve his skills at Slither.io. He also talks about the cost of the pipeline. So the pipeline in this case is this process of getting these 5 videos and combining them and speeding them up. That's all of the steps in the pipeline. And the cost, he is calculating the cost in time in terms of his time, because Stephen has a lot of things to do, as I'm sure most of you do. Maybe not right now while we're all stuck in our homes, but if you can speed up time, or the amount of time it takes you to do something, then you have time to do something else that you maybe would prefer to work on. So that is his cost for this process. It's 12 minutes, even though normally we think of cost in terms of actual dollars and cents. In this case, we're talking about cost in terms of time.
Now, I'd like to improve upon that, but at least now I have a number, 12 minutes, that I can improve upon.
Okay, so in one of the prior videos, and he didn't use it here, but he talked about the word benchmark. In this case, I would say the benchmark that Stephen has set for creating these combined sped up videos is 12 minutes. And now he wants to try to improve on that benchmark. So let's see what happens.
So I'd like to close this video with 3 challenges. One for beginners, one for intermediate users, and one for experts.
As you're watching this video, we're not going to go through and do any of these challenges together, but I really hope that you figure out which of these categories you fit in and actually sit down and do the challenge as Stephen discusses. Let's watch.
My beginner challenge is, can you just do this? If you are just now acquiring your digital literacy fluencies, then the idea of working with videos that are out on YouTube and then getting them into a folder and then putting them into Shotcut and then producing other files that you then also put into Shotcut, it can be overwhelming, and I totally get that.
Okay, so here's the beginner challenge. Just do what you saw here. And Stephen is acknowledging that maybe it'll be a little hard for you to actually do it. There's a lot of steps here. There's just the opening up the different YouTube files that are yours that you can download and downloading those files. And then there is combining those files. You can use a program that is free, that is a video editing software like the one Stephen uses, Shotcut. You can write code in a language that you're familiar with to combine the files. But as a beginner, this is a lot of work to download 5 different files, combine them, and speed them up.
And my word of advice to you is take on the challenge of trying. You won't gain new digital literacies unless you take on new challenges. So
okay, what a good call to action here from Stephen. So we all have, I think, more time now as we are stuck in our homes than we did in the past. And this is a great time to take on a challenge, something that might normally have taken you a long time and you didn't have the opportunity to do it because you were too busy going to school or going to work or commuting or doing running errands, all of those things. Now you have some extra time, so take on a new challenge, whether it's coding by watching our Quarantine Coding Club videos or whatever else. But so Stephen is saying, hey, you know what? This may seem hard now, but give it a try. See how far you get.
this is one. See if you can get 5 videos from YouTube. See if you can put them in a folder. See if you can combine them. See if you can speed them up, and so on. Try to use my process or some variation on it. It doesn't really matter. It's your process. For intermediate...
Okay, that was the beginner challenge. So just to review it, the beginner challenge is just do exactly what you saw Stephen do. Find 5 video clips, download them, put them together in a folder, put them together in a single video, and then take that video and make it run faster. Stephen mentioned his video ran 8 times faster. Maybe you can just make it go twice as fast.
Computer users, you may or may not have some coding experience, and it doesn't really matter. But my challenge to you is do this within a time constraint. 12 minutes was how fast I was able to do it. I would say pick something that sounds reasonable. You can play the video that I'll link below and kind of race me, and you can even alter the speed. You can give yourself more time to make it a little bit easier, and you can gradually decrease it. And then maybe you'll get to the point where you're doing the advanced challenge.
Okay, so the intermediate challenge is exactly the same as the beginner challenge, but just to time it and try to do it as fast as Stephen. Now, Stephen used code to automate parts of this challenge, and so as an intermediate coder, perhaps you can write your own code or use some of Stephen's code even. We've seen it in this video. You could probably just borrow some of his code and see if you could do it in 12 minutes plus 5 minutes of playing Slither.io. But I do want to point out that Stephen is sharing his code. As we saw in the video, you could see all of the code that Stephen has written. Stephen is sharing this code because Metacoders is a nonprofit, and it's a company that wants to share coding education with people. We are fine with sharing our software. That is part of our goal, is to help teach people. Not all software is available to be used, to be borrowed and used. But in this particular case, Stephen is offering it up. Let's see what the advanced challenge is.
Which is, can you beat my time?
Oh, the advanced challenge is do the exact same thing in less than 12 minutes. That's a great challenge.
Can you do this faster using any kind of mechanism, software, or process that you want? In fact, if you're just a really, really good video editor and you're able to do all of this with no code and just do it by hand, show me. I would like to see that.
All right, so even though I'm not sure I believe Stephen, he is saying that if you don't want to use any code at all and you can still beat his challenge, he'll be fine with that. Now, I know that Stephen loves everything to be done with code, so I bet he doesn't think you could do it in less than 12 minutes, but that's part of the challenge for the advanced people, if they could do it with or without code.
I'd like to see what you're doing. My only constraints are that you use free software that anyone else could use, and you make a video of you doing it.
Okay, so he did put a couple of constraints. One is that you're using free software that anyone could use. The reason that Stephen wants you to be able to do this using free software that anyone could use, and then the second was that you record the process, is because we will use this at Metacoders as an educational experience. Everything that we do, we want to share with our students and with people who we want to become our students. So if you can do something either with code, hopefully, or without, and you can teach us or teach Stephen how you did it, we will use that knowledge and pass it on to other people.
If you make a video of you beating my time...
Oh, and because you need to use free software because everyone needs to be able to do the same thing.
You can bet I will watch that video. If you do beat my time and you make a video that educates me about how you did it, and if I then take something from that video and it saves me time from now on, then I will sweeten the deal. I will send you a free notebook full of blank paper along with a black pen.
Okay, so if you as an advanced student or an advanced coder, if you can beat the 12-minute challenge that Stephen is proposing here, he is going to send you paper and a pen. Well, maybe that doesn't sound really exciting, but these days I think anything that changes our routine is maybe a little exciting. And think of all the cool things you could do with a blank piece of paper.
You can think of it as like an extended mind starter kit.
Oh, an extended mind starter kit. So in one of the prior videos, Stephen talked about the extended mind and the idea that you can take your thoughts and put them on, for example, a piece of paper in a drawing, or you could write down words, and then whatever you have written on your paper or drawn on your paper, you don't have to remember all those details anymore. But it's an extension of your mind so that you know you have it and you can use that little pieces of your brain to do something else. So now your brain is what's in here plus what was on this paper. That was the extended mind.
It's not much, but it's my way of saying thank you for saving me some time. I appreciate it.
Okay, you didn't really think he was just going to send you a blank paper and a pen, right? Okay, Stephen and Lindsay, who are the two people that are in charge of the Metacoders company, that are the founders, have written this really cool book that's called Don't Teach Coding Until You Read This Book. And if you beat Stephen's 12-minute challenge, he is going to send you a copy of this book. I believe this, I haven't read it yet because it just came out, but I'm pretty sure that the idea is that this is a book for people who teach coding, and it is explaining coding education in a whole different realm than what we are used to seeing when people teach coding. Traditionally, people taught coding by saying, this is how you create a function. This is the syntax for this programming language. And that method was only partially effective and maybe not as effective as it could be. And I believe that in this book, Stephen and Lindsay are talking about other ways that you can teach coding where you're not so focused on the nitty-gritty of the syntax, but more in the big picture of coding as a language, just like Spanish or French or Italian. Computer coding is its own language, and if it is taught that way, then people learn it better. Let's watch the last 10 seconds of this. All right, that will conclude the second half of the commentary on this episode, and I really look forward to seeing you again in Quarantine Coding Club.